Bonjour! Aujourd'hui, on va parler des verbes irréguliers en RE. On a déjà appris les verbes réguliers en RE. Donc, si vous avez besoin de réviser les verbes réguliers en RE, comme attendre et descendre, vous pouvez les étudier dans le livre à la page 206. 206 dans le livre. Et n'oubliez pas de prendre des notes en regardant la vidéo. On va la discuter demain en classe. Le premier verbe irrégulier en RE, c'est conduire. Conduire, ça veut dire to drive. First, let's go over the pronunciation of the verb. Repeat after me as I say them. Je conduis. Tu conduis. Elle conduit. Nous conduisons. Vous conduisez. Elles conduisent. So since this is an irregular verb, we have to figure out what are we doing to conjugate this verb. So first you might notice that in order to get the stem, we take off the re ending on the infinitive. And then we add our appropriate endings depending on your subject pronoun. So for je, what do you add? Really easy, you add an S. For tu, you also add an S. And for third person singular, il, elle, on, you add a T. So SST, which we've seen all the time, like for example in the verb faire, supersonic transport. Then if you take a look at the plural side, we also take off the RE infinitive, but this time we're adding an SONS. So you have the CONDUI stem, and then you add SONS, conduisons. Then you have SEZ, conduisez, and SENT, conduisent. And as always, comme toujours, on ne prononce pas le ENT. So it's just conduisent. You pronounce that S like a Z sound, conduisent. Remember the rule is when you have one S in between two vowels, it's pronounced Z, conduisent, Z sound. Now, whenever we learn a new verb, a new irregular verb in French from now on, we're going to have to learn the past participle with it, le participe passé, and the past participle of conduire is conduit. Comme par exemple, ma grand-mère a conduit une voiture noire. Ma grand-mère a conduit une voiture noire. Et d'autres exemples au présent. Je conduis bien. Il conduit mal. Véronique et Jacqueline conduisent une voiture bleue. Voici d'autres verbes qui sont conjugués comme conduire. So they're conjugated like conduire, so they follow the same pattern of dropping the RE and adding the endings. SST on the singular side, SONS, SEZ, and SENT on the plural side. So write those endings down if you need to, because these verbs are going to be conjugated just like that. So first let's go over the meanings of these verbs. Premièrement, construire, you might be able to guess it, it means to construct. Détruire veut dire to destroy. Produire veut dire to produce. Réduire veut dire to reduce. Et traduire veut dire to translate. So keep in mind as you conjugate that these have the same endings as conduire, and here they are. The past participles of these 5 verbs are also just like the past participle of conduire, so it's going to be construit with the T ending, détruit, produit, réduit et traduit. Comme par exemple, les Français ont construit le statue de liberté. Another example in the present tense. Le professeur traduit la phrase en français. Okay, so keeping these endings in mind, let's take a look at a verb chart so you can conjugate a couple of these verbs that are conjugated just like conduire to see if you're kind of getting it. So let's go take a look at that. Okay, so now we're going to conjugate the verbs construire et produire. And these two verbs, don't forget, are conjugated just like conduire. So if you need to rewind a little bit and go back and review, please do that now. Otherwise, go ahead and pause the video at this point and conjugate these two verbs just like we conjugated conduire. Okay, did you pause? Pause now, because here's your last chance. I'm about to show you the answers. Yay, here are the answers. Hopefully you got them all right. Check your work. Pause if you need to look over all the conjugations to check to make sure that you did them correctly. Really quickly, let's go through the pronunciation. Construire. Je construis. Tu construis. Il construit. Nous construisons. Vous construisez. Ils construisent. That verb is a little bit of a tongue twister. Be careful about that. And then produire. Je produis. Tu produis. Il produit, nous produisons, vous produisez, ils produisent. And you'll notice that these follow the same exact pattern as conduire. We took off the RE and we added our endings, S, ST, SONS, SEZ, SENT. So if you just follow that pattern, kind of plug it in, then you should be good. I think the trickiest part about this is probably the pronunciation. So go back and practice this some more if you need to. Voici un autre verbe irrégulier en RE. La conjugaison est un peu différente, donc faites attention. Le verbe mettre veut dire to put or to put on. Let's go through the pronunciation and then we'll talk about how it's conjugated. Repeat after me. Je mets. Tu mets. Il met. Nous mettons. Vous mettez. Ils mettent. So take a minute to look at this verb and see if you can figure out how we're conjugating it. It's a little bit different than conduire, and I like to think of it in terms of it's different from the singular and the plural. They're a little bit different. So let's take a look at the singular first. What I do is I like to think of, for the singular side, je, tu, il, I take off the TRE of the infinitive, the last TRE, and then for the singular, for je, I add an S, for tu, I add an S, and then for il, third person singular, I add nothing. Okay, so METS, METS, MET, and remember they're all pronounced the same, so rewind and listen to that if you need to again. And then it's a little different for the plural side. We only take off the RE. For the plural side, just the RE. And so then for the new, we add, like we always do, ONS. Then for vous, easy. And for third person plural, il, elle, we add the ENT. And remember, that ENT is never pronounced. That's really important. Okay, and then lastly, le participe passé du verbe mettre, c'est mis, M-I-S. Comme par exemple, ce matin, j'ai mis mes chaussures. This morning, I put on my shoes. Ce matin, j'ai mis mes chaussures. There are just two other verbs that are conjugated like mettre, and they're super, super easy because all you have to do is add PER or POR to the beginning of mettre. And then other than that, the conjugation is just the same. So, you know, for permettre, all you would do would be to add PER. Ooh, sorry, terrible handwriting. So the meanings of these verbs. Permettre, ça veut dire to allow. Permettre. Et promettre, ça veut dire to promise. So you can see the beginning of the word promise in English there. So that'll help you remember that. And remember, conjugated, just like mettre. All you do is add the PER and the PRO in front of it. So for example, je promets. or je permets. So let's listen to one example in the passé composé. Another example, actually. Ce matin, les élèves ont mis leurs robes. This morning, the students put on their dresses. Et voici le dernier verbe irrégulier en RE, le verbe rire. Rire, ça veut dire to laugh. Okay, let's go through the pronunciation of the conjugation of the verb rire. Repeat after me. Je ris. Tu ris. Il rit. Nous rions. Vous riez. Il rit. So you can practice your R's there with this verb. So what do you notice about the conjugation? How is it formed? Take a minute to think about that, look at the infinitive and look at the conjugations and see if you can figure it out. Donc pour conjuguer le verbe rire, on laisse tomber le RE, la terminaison de l'infinitive, et on ajoute les terminaisons selon le pronom sujet. Donc c'est très simple, très simple en fait. SST, Supersonic Transport, ONS, EZ, ENT. Tout simplement. C'est très simple. Et la prononciation de ce verbe, it's the same for all of the singular, and then third person plural. Ri, and then rions, riez. So keep that in mind. We see that a lot too. Et finalement, le participe passé du verbe rire, c'est ri. R-I. Et il y a un seul verbe qui est conjugué comme rire, et c'est sourire. Sourire, ça veut dire to smile. So we have to laugh and to smile. Similar meanings. Le participe passé du verbe sourire, c'est sourit. Ok, quelques exemples. Tu ris toujours. You always laugh. And another example. Nous rions quand nous voyons quelque chose d'amusant. We laugh when we see something funny. Okay, so now here's some examples for you to work on by yourself. So take a moment to pause the video now and write in your notes the conjugation of each verb in the sentence. Conjugate them in the present tense. So pause now, because in just a moment I'm going to show you the answers. Okay, have you paused? Because here come the answers. Voici les réponses. Okay, so let's go through each one really quickly. I'll just pronounce them for you, so check your work, and then I'll see you at the end. Marc et Céline conduisent une voiture verte. Nous sourions parce que nous n'avons pas de devoirs. Je réduis ma consommation de lait. Tu promets de ne pas tricher. Tricher is a ER verb, it means to cheat. Ils construisent un gratte-ciel à New York. Un gratte-ciel is a skyscraper. Tu ris toujours. You always laugh. Vous mettez tes chaussures le matin. Vous mettez tes chaussures le matin. You put on your shoes in the morning. Elle ne permet pas à ses élèves de tricher. She does not permit her students to cheat. Bien sûr. La fin. N'oubliez pas d'écrire dans vos notes toutes vos questions. Vous allez avoir l'occasion de me les poser demain. Au revoir.